Hi, Matt.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Congratulations on this new record. I'm a big fan.
Oh, thank you.
So the album's been out. It took a while to get it out, but it's finally out. It's been out 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
How's the reaction been from your point of view to the album since it's dropped?
I mean, from what I can tell, great. I think that the most important thing for us is that the fans have embraced it. So it's beautiful seeing fans that were there on the first record that have come back, because we know it was a long time and we know that it wasn't, the 2-year normalcy of putting a record out every 2 years. It just didn't work that way for us, unfortunately, even though we wanted it to. That was the plan. So it's just great to see the fans embracing it.
Yeah. So obviously, you started writing this record, I think back in 2018, right?
18, yeah. Started, 18. Exactly.
How do you think the record has benefited from having such a long time to kind of finally get it out? Like, I guess the idea would have been to get it out maybe a couple of years ago.
Well, yeah, there was a version of this record that was done in January 2020. And we, at that moment, it seemed pretty obvious that we were going to part ways with the label. And we didn't really feel like, I guess thinking back on it, I mean, not knowing the pandemic was right around the corner at that time as well. So there was definitely a version of this album that was finished, and then the pandemic hit, and it kind of gave us a new perspective being out of that record contract and just having some more time to think about where we're at and what kind of record, where the record could benefit, I think it was pretty obvious that putting a record out right before the pandemic was probably, even though everyone was like, oh, that's going to be 3 weeks, I'm really glad that we didn't do that because there was just no way to promote it, and the record itself definitely benefited. I mean, songs like Digging Up the Dead and Stop and Modern Life probably wouldn't have been on the record in the way they were had it not been, and even Carried Away had it not been for the time that we had during the pandemic to work on it.
From what I know about you, I feel like you sometimes maybe suffer from being a bit of a perfectionist. Would I be right?
Yeah, I don't know if I would call myself a perfectionist, because I've finally come to realize that the imperfections are something that I should get better at embracing. So I'm trying to let the imperfections. Sometimes I have a tendency to overthink instead of feeling like, oh, it has to be perfect. I have a tendency to kind of doubt myself when it comes to the finished product or the writing. A lot of the times it's just the writing, I mean, like we were just talking about before we started, it's like when I think about great songs, I'm looking at the Joshua Tree and I'm looking at Bowie and Bruce and Adam and the drum. It's like, so there's this constant level of like, is it right? Is it good enough? I don't know. Is it as good as it can be? And so, but I don't think I'll ever get it to be perfect, and I think that that's kind of the best part about being an artist is like, I'm already thinking about album 3, it's already happening. It's just never stops. And I think that if we stop thinking about it like that, then there's just no reason to make art. I mean, like you said, getting into photography or whatever it is, if you're not willing to continue to just accept the fact that you're on a path, there's no real reason to continue to do this, because that means that you're inspired to keep pushing,
Yeah, sometimes done is better than perfect.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't know if any artist, like we can call ourselves perfectionists, but the end of the day, every artist is pretty positive that they've never made anything perfect. And if you think that you've made something perfect, then yeah, I don't know, then maybe this isn't the right thing for you.
Yeah,
right.
I think if you think you've made something perfect, A, you're probably wrong, and B, it's probably downhill from that point.
Yeah, exactly. It's making something perfect is a lot different than being proud of your work, and so I think and when you're in the record making process, it's very hard to be proud of what you're doing because you're constantly analyzing it. It's like, I remember saying to the guys when the record finally was on Spotify, listening to it on Spotify felt completely different than when it's in my Dropbox and I'm searching for tracks. It's like, it felt like, oh, okay, we captured a moment in time. That's what we were doing at that moment in time. And this is the way we expressed ourselves. Does that mean that it's perfect or imperfect or not right? No, but it is. And it lives in that way. And I'm proud of it. And if you can walk away being proud of it, that means that you've kind of labored over the things that are worth laboring over. You've spent the time to say, is this the best representation at this moment of my art and of what I'm trying to say and of the expression I'm trying to get through? And if you can be happy with it, then great. You know, I mean, you're always going to listen to a mix and be like, I wish snare drum was louder. I wish it had more reverb on it, or I wish my vocal sounded better. I wish that, but that's normal if you're an artist. I mean, I think that's part of the job.
So when you're recording, are you thinking about how these songs are going to play live? I know you're just about to finally get back out on the road for real. Do the songs change much in a live environment for you?
On the first record, we did. We discovered that we were going to be leaning into our guitars way more than we did in the studio, and so we definitely like had to transform some of those songs on the first record for the live, for live. And I'm very excited to do that on this record. And these songs were built with the live show in mind. Just maybe not like, we were just thinking about it like, hey, can you play that, Sterling? Santa, can you play that? Should I just play acoustic guitar? You know, it was a very much like a band making a record. And on the first record, we didn't have Sterling on the first record. Our drummer, we met him towards the end of the record, and it was a different process. It was a little bit more like manufactured band, even though, you know, we played everything on the record. But this time around, it was very much like, let's feel the air moving and see what it feels like. And I think that because of that, this record especially will have a second life. Like I know that, and I know the first record had a second life, and I'm really curious to see what happens by the time we get to the end of this campaign. You know, I could see Stop going on for 10 minutes. You know, I can see Dream Never Dies going on for 10 minutes. I can just see the Raincoats. You know, I can see where we can lengthen it. I can see where we can, you know, have some more fun.
Yeah, for sure. Now, one of the questions I ask a lot of bands is if they could pick like their dream artist to go on tour with, who would it be? But looking at the bands that you've already opened for, I feel like you've already checked a few off and you're about to check off another one.
Yeah.
With the war on drugs. Am I right in saying
Oh,
that?
yeah, 100%. I mean, we've been super lucky to be able to play with some of these bands. I mean, you know, the craziest thing about, especially a band like the Drugs, you know, going out, we leave on Monday for their, you know, we're supporting them all through Europe and the UK, and it's going to be some more dates coming. But just being able, like, just, we've seen them so many times and we've, you know, become brothers with those guys. And, but just, they just level up every time. I mean, and like being able to witness that every night, you just learn something, you pick something up about the way it works, about the way things develop live, and they're just, yeah, there's no way for that doesn't seep in, being able to watch that happen every night. And there's so many, look, we've been so lucky to support some of the most amazing bands out there, really.
Yeah, because on my list here, you supported Ride.
Yep, Ride was a bizarre one, and Andy Bell is like the best dude on the planet. I love Andy Bell. Oh my God.
And then Phoenix, London Grammar.
Yep.
Like quite different bands, but they all seem perfect for you to be on the road with.
Yeah, it's all been really beautiful.
So you mentioned that you're going to Europe, and then you're going to be here in Montreal at the end of May.
Yep, can't wait.
You're going to be playing at Cafe Campus. Have you been to Montreal before?
Yep, we played Les Co Grief. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It's great. I loved it. And we played with Phoenix in Montreal once before that.
Oh, excellent. Okay, but this is your first time playing at Cafe Campus, which is a really cool venue.
Great.
I've seen a few shows there, and I will be there.
Oh, great. Can't wait.
And you touched on Arcade Fire, really. Are you a fan of Arcade Fire?
Yeah, I just saw them in the reason I'm on the Arcade Fire tip, I just saw them play like their secret show in New Orleans. I was down there.
Oh, no way, you were at that?
Yeah, I was there for the first night, which was like a super friends and family. I got invited through a friend who works with them, and like I would just happen to be down there at the same time. And so I forgot, because they've been gone for a while. I forgot how great they are live. And I got to, I mean, there was probably 250 people there. It was the tiniest club ever, and it was awesome. So I'm on the Arcade Fire tip right now. I mean, Neon Bible, I remember I had friends that were so into it, and I was really into it. But the Suburbs like changed my idea of what an indie rock band could make as like a piece of talking about full albums, right? It's like,
yeah,
that's a full statement.
They're obviously from Montreal, which is kind of why I mentioned it. So what's next for you? You've got this tour, then you've got the North American tour. Have you planned further ahead of that?
There's some festivals after that, and then, you know, every time we get time off, we'll just be working on our record.
Excellent. Well, yeah. I'm excited to see you in Montreal.
Oh, I can't wait.
May. I'll come and say hi.
That'd be great.
But have an amazing time with the War on Drugs.
Thank you.
Like you say, I'm sure every night's going to be just an experience.
It is.
So safe travels, and thanks very much for spending some time chatting with me.
Thank you, man. Really appreciate it.